This is my final presentation for analytics. I'm going to be the GM of the Minnesota Vikings, and we're going to be looking at improving the offense during the 2019 NFL offseason. So there's a quick recap of last year. We finished 8-7-1. That was second place in the NFC North, and it was very much below expectations. We had the highest salary cap of any roster in the league, and we had Super Bowl expectations. So the state of the team right now, there's a lot of questions and pointed fingers, specifically at the offense, specifically at the play calling. The fan base is pretty tense right now, and we know we got a small window to make things happen. So really what made last year so unfortunate was the death of Tony Sperano, our offensive line coach. Really hurt the play of the team, in my opinion, and also lost Nick Easton last year. Dalvin Cook played 10 games, but he was missed 6 games, and then when he did play, he was still, had that lingering hamstring injury coming off the torn ACL. First-round draft pick Mike Hughes tore his ACL week 6, kind of left us a little more thin at the corner spot. And, of course, Everson Griffin. It was very saddening and kind of killed the mood of the season when he missed time with his mental health issues. So, really a bleak season. We have to turn things around. So, committed salaries through 2021, and we got big name guys on our roster signing extensions, such as Danielle Hunter, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins. With that, you're looking at about $190 million for 2019. Got 36 committed players for next year for $201 million. You got about 26 committed players for $173 million about for 2021. Yeah, the Vikings against the rest of the NFL. This is all philosophical right here with John DeFilippo. Just the lack of want. We didn't want to be tough last year. We didn't want to run the ball. 6th in pass attempts, 30th in rushing. So that just shows a lack of emphasis to really pound the ball and play that type of style. So drop back and passed a lot. Got sacked a lot. So for 2nd and long, 3rd and long, that's where you're going to find yourself in 26th and 3rd down percentage. So it's imperative that we get positive yards on 1st down. Imperative that we get positive yards on 2nd down, put ourselves in as many 3rd and short situations as possible. The way to do that really is going to, like I said, more better run-pass balance. You don't need to run the ball. It's not a rule that you have to run the ball on 1st down. Get the pass game going. Get some positive yards in the pass game on 1st down, then go to the run. So more creative with the play calling, and with that, you got to be utilizing multiple running backs. 2 tight end sets. That's going to not only help you spread the ball around to multiple targets, but those type of looks, you can run out of those looks, you can pass out of those looks, keeps you unpredictable. So, I think that we need to get a more complimentary running back to Dalvin Cook. I think when Murray was in last year, I think it kind of hurt the play calling. You'd figure that he was in to block or run. So I think give Cousins another target, give him some more creativity with his running backs. And Treadwell was a terrible number 3 receiver, 35 receptions, while Thielen and Diggs both had over 100 plus. My opinion is if you have 2 receivers catching over 100 passes, then you need to have, you need to be getting some catches, spread around to some more targets. So, really just a lack of a 3rd option. When they contain Cousins or when they contain Thielen and Diggs, Cousins would have to drop it off short. 27th in pretty much air yards per completion. His balls were going 5 yards on average before they were caught. And that left us in the bottom 3rd of net yards per attempt, with the negative plays, the short passes, and the sacks. So, very poor offense last year. And it's really because of DeFilippo and his lack of creativity. So with that, as well, Bradley Reed flat up 5 strip sacks on Cousins last year. Most of the sacks were given up on that side. I feel we need to get an offensive tackle to replace Reef, a wide receiver to replace Treadwell, give more production, a complimentary receiving tight end, kind of another veteran presence to complement Kyle Rudolph, and then, like I said, a change of pace back, a complimentary running back to Dalvin Cook, where if he comes in, that running back can essentially still catch, still run. You're not losing really any parts of your offense. Just emphasize, like I said, those those have, more big bodies, more toughness, more creativity in the scheme. And if you're able to, pound the ball and run, it's just gonna all areas of the team are gonna play better. Everyone's gonna be more confident. So here's how I would clean house. I would start off by releasing Riley Reef. You're saving $9.5 million right off the bat by getting rid of Riley Reef. He's been a vastly overrated tackle. You talk about our cornerback depth with Mackenzie Alexander, with Mike Hughes coming back, and the emergence of Holton Hill. You're looking at 4 or 5 corners right now. I think you kind of got to look at Mackenzie Alexander at that $1 million cap space, and I think you got to go with it and kind of go with Hill and those guys. So Rashad Hill, Holton Hill's the corner, Rashad Hill the tackle. Save $2 million by getting rid of him, and then with those linebackers, they don't see much time with Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr. So Brothers and Gideon, additional about $1.4 million with those releases. So I was thinking about $4 million in cap space, and then with the addition of around 13 and some change in cap space, now I'm looking at $17.7 million heading into the offseason. So trying to move the ball down the field, trying to get more first downs, trying to sustain drives, and have a tough physical presence. Golden Tate's going to block in the run game. One of the greatest yards after catch players of all time. If Cousins needs to throw it short with pressure, he will extend those plays. Tate will extend those plays for you, but on average, when he's catching the ball, much like Deshaun Jackson, those guys, he's 10, 15 yards down the field. He's got great yards per catch, average through his career. So when he's catching the ball, he's most likely obtaining first down yardage. So exceptional option out of the slot. And I think that based off the salary that the contract he did sign with the Giants. So with that, you'd be looking at $6.2 million for 2019. And like I said, Tevin Coleman, switch him in and out with Dalvin Cook. You can throw it to him. You can run it with him. Very dynamic, talented running back. I feel that you can do a lot more in the pass game. Be a security blanket for Cousins if need be. So that's an obvious pick at $3.6 million. So yeah, absolutely. More screen games, more variety in the pass game with those guys. Here's this is primarily an experience acquisition. It's Virgil Green. Bringing him over because of his continuity with Gary Kubiak. He kind of knows the schemes. Gonna reunite him with his old coach. He can 6'5", big body. He can spread out wide, work in the slot, work outside. And then he's a Super Bowl champion. Played with Peyton Manning. Played with great players. Great locker room guy, veteran. So I think at $3.3 million to bring him on board, that's totally worth it. And then Kyle Schrader, he's got Super Bowl experience as well. Started all 16 games for the 2016 NFC champion Atlanta Falcons. And why that stood out to me is because multiple running backs, multiple tight ends, a lot of receivers getting involved, making plays, and that's what we envision with our offense. Multiple targets, multiple guys getting involved. So he's got experience working with a great offense, working with a great quarterback, and he's an all-pro as well. So currently out of football, so I feel I got some leverage on my negotiation with him. So I'm just going to get him signed for 1 year, $4 million. And with that, we've always had some depth issues at the O-line. But the salary cap actually accounts for the pickup of Klein and the draft of Bradbury. So just assume that they're going to be in. And then really just, if you're looking at depth at the other positions, like I said, Barr and Kendricks are always constantly playing 2 linebacker sets where Zimmer's rolling 5 DBs and his 4 pass rushers. And then with the DBs, he's only got 4 safeties right now, which that may seem light for some players, but Curse works in at corner. Harris is an exceptional player. And then Harrison Smith he's going to be on the field 100% of the plays as well because he's the best safety in the game. So moving on to my regressions and how I got my data, how I got my results for you guys. So I got a pocket pressure regression. You see my R-squared is solid at 76%. You see all my p-values are significant. So if you're going to be looking at my predictors, right? Negative for attempts, negative for sacks. So 600 pass attempts. There's no way that correlated to winning ball games. So we got to really lower those attempts for Cousins. And with lowering attempts, we're going to lower sacks because pass attempts, of course, is correlated with sacks. The more you drop back and pass, the more vulnerable you are to get sacked. Did a team passing regression compared with all the teams of the NFL. That's about 69% on my R-squared. The only predictor not significant is the touchdown percentage. But once again, really showing that yards per game and the sack yards. So what I was attesting to earlier, you don't want to get sacked, of course. And the more yards you're throwing, you're actually going to lose because you throw the ball most when you're behind. When you got that lead, mix up the run more. You don't need to be throwing 400 yards with a 20-point lead. So here, assumptions I made for points for and points against regression. I'm going to try to get this finished up here. And Minnesota Vikings scored 360 points last year, and they gave up 340 points. So let's assume they give themselves one more additional scoring opportunity, 3-4 points a game. That's anywhere from 48 to 65 in a year. Let's say they score 60 more points next year. That puts them at 420. Longer drive, sustained offense, less time the opponent's on the field with essentially the same defense. Let's say from 340 points given up, we'll give about a point less. So, say, go from 340 to 320 on the points. So now when I ran this model, I know it's at the bottom here, but when I ran this model, right, I did 420 for my points, 320 for the points given up. Of course, 88% R squared, so my average deviation from the 30 teams is 0.86. So with the Vikings right here, looking at 10.8 wins. So I pretty much concluded I'm looking at anywhere from 9 to 11 win expectancy with the points for, points against regression. My pocket pressure regression deviation of 1.3 league wide finished up with 11.4 wins. That's anywhere from 10 to 12 wins. 360 pass attempts, 515. 360 completions, 515 attempts, 70% completion percentage. Assuming that if he gets 70% completion percentage on 600 pass attempts, he should be able to get 70% completion percentage on 80 less throws, and a better scheme, better flow, better play calls. 4,000 pass yards. I'm going to reduce his pass yards because my regression told me that yards are correlated with losses rather than wins. 32 sacks. Assume with Ryan Schrader and the improved play calling, less dropbacks. Say I'm going to assume Cousins gets sacked one less time every 2 games. So 8 over the season. Honestly, it probably could be more. 2.5 is his average pocket time. Looking at 11.4 wins, anywhere from 10 to 12 with the pocket pressure regression. Team passing regression, touchdown percentage 6.5. Just use his career average. 250 yards per game. Like I said, we want those yards per game to lower. 515 pass attempts. 180 for his sack yards. I used his career average. Used his career average because last year was significantly higher than his league average, so just use his league average. I used his league average for the last 3 seasons for net yards per attempt. That's correlated high. We need to have more yards per each pass, of course. And then and then 4% of all plays 4% of all plays resulting in a sack, right? 4% of all plays resulting in a sack. So with that annual deviation 1.2 at 12.5 wins, 11-13 win expectancy through 2019. So here's my assumptions, right? I broke down the 360 completions for Cousins, 85 for Thielen and Diggs, Cook and Tate each with 50, 45 catches for Rudolph, 15 for Virgil Green. I found everything on Spot Track and Pro Football Reference, and I told you about the rest of these assumptions. Thank you.